You know, it's a it's a funny thing that you know, I come onto the property and work, trim, cut, chainsaw, carry rocks. I'm just always down here doing something. But every once in a while, I just feel like I need to take a walk and get a different perspective on what I'm doing. And that's just a matter of walking around, stopping and looking at things, look at what I've done and what I could be doing. Yeah, it's just a different perspective if you just walk around and be quiet and just look at the big picture, I guess. Well, let me show you. I'm going to go back up here and I'll show you something that I worked on, and I haven't shown this at all. And right now I'm walking on the roadway, which was starting to wash out. So I needed to move the trail over about 10 feet just to hopefully eliminate this erosion and washing that we're getting on the trail. But when I did that, I started opening up this little spot right here. And this seasonal creek that runs down past where the tent is, starts way up here. And it's all shale stone rock. It's kind of neat looking. And before it was all covered with brush. And we've cleaned a lot of the stuff out. And yeah, it looks a lot different. So, you know, in reality, we have 12 acres, and probably 6 acres or 7 acres is what we actually do anything on, because the upper part is just open field. And eventually, I'm going to start planting trees. But I have to think about 20 years down the road. And this type of things that you plant, do you want to have them grow up and block the view? Because it is a tremendous view. So what do you plant? I don't know. So I haven't planted anything. I've cut all the invasives out, or the majority of them. I leave some just to block the visual access to what's going on down here from the road. Is that a thing? Visual access? I'm gonna make that up right now. So the visual access is different than the physical access. You know, people aren't going to walk down here, but people can look down here and see what's going on. So we leave some of the invasive stuff up, the buckthorn and the autumn olive. We leave that up basically just to block the visual access. But this is an area that I cleaned up that I haven't shown. And this actually kind of ties into what we did on the hillside earlier in the year, where we cut out like a bedding pocket. I guess we call them bedding pockets. But so we're just going to take a walk here and kind of just see what else is going on. Here's some red osier dogwood that we trimmed back pretty heavy a couple years ago, and you can see it's up there about the right height for the deer to be browsing on it, and you can see they have. This is a larch or tamarack tree that we planted, I think 4 years ago, I believe. The deer rubbed it, so I'll probably have to put something on there to protect it. When we planted these, we planted a bunch in here, but I'm afraid it was a little bit wet for them. And this is the only one that survived in this row, but it seems to be doing pretty good, other than the fact that deer rubbed on it. But if the deer keep rubbing it, it won't last for more than a couple of years. I think 3 years in a row I bought larch saplings and planted them. They're very fast growing. This is probably 9 or 10 feet tall. Started out at like a little sapling, maybe a foot tall, and in 4 years it's pretty big. And that's one of the reasons I planted these larches, is because they do grow fast. They do provide some cover, so they're actually a deciduous tree that they lose their needles. They look like a pine tree, but they're not. Yesterday the bees were pretty active. I mean, really, they were just pouring out. There were so many bees there falling out of the entrance of the hive. But one of the things I did is I left the upper entrance open. I flipped the inner cover so the entrance was open to the cluster. And I guess the thinking at the time was that it would allow the moisture to escape. But with the cluster at the top of the hive, right near that entrance, they prefer that entrance. Very few of them are using the lower entrance, and they're all using that upper entrance. But depends on who you listen to and what you read. It's a good thing or it's a bad thing, but it is what I have. So eventually I think I'll have to cover that up and maybe force them to use the lower entrance when the weather warms up. We'll see. Yesterday I came down and hung a couple of these swarm traps. Swear I heard a turkey down there. But as active as these bees were yesterday, and I know it's too cold to manipulate the hives to try to stop a swarm. It's too early. We're in the 20s at night still, but it's getting, 50 during the day, mid 20s to mid 30s at night. So it's just, I think, too cold now to try to manipulate these hives or do anything to them. But I did put some swarm traps up just in case. I got one here and one down below. And then I'm going to move the horizontal hive down here and set it up. So just in case they decide to swarm at some point here in the next month, which still would, I think, be a little early. Last year I caught the two swarms that I have in the hives. It was probably mid to late May, mid-May, because I moved them into the hives Memorial Day weekend. So yeah, that's like the end of May. So I'd had them a week in the swarm traps. So yeah, so mid-May, say. So it's way too early right now. We got another month at least before we even worry about swarming. But the weather's been such that I'm worried that they'll build up their population really quickly, because they seem to have a lot of bees in there, and maybe they'll swarm early. So I'm being proactive, I guess, and having everything set up. So in case they do, maybe they'll find Maybe they'll find these swarm traps or just move into the horizontal hive. We'll see. And yesterday when I checked them, they were pulling in so much pollen. It was unbelievable. And I know that the maples are blooming right now. I don't know what else it would be. Skunk cabbage down in the swamp maybe? I don't know. But man, they were really kicking it on the pollen. So I knew I heard a turkey. He's down over the hill just hammering. I'm hoping he gets closer. I don't think he will though. He's probably a good 250 yards away down over the hill. That's one thing you wouldn't necessarily hear if I'd come down here in the four-wheeler or been down here chainsawing or working. Is that Tom gobbling his fool head off right over the hill. Sometimes you just gotta walk around. And listen. And we can hear the traffic here. There's a road across the valley, and it's probably a mile and a half. That it's quite loud for that distance away. It must just be the way things flow in the valley. We can hear the trucks over there, and there's actually a road at the bottom of the hill too that's can get fairly busy, but we don't hear the traffic there. We hear the traffic from across the valley. I'm gonna walk over here and call to that bird and see if we can't get him to come a little closer. He's gobbling a lot down there. It's late in the morning. So either he doesn't have hens, which is most likely, or the hens don't want anything to do with them right now. It's a little bit early. A little bit early in the year for them to be breeding, but I'm not a turkey, so, well, some people think I'm a turkey. Let's walk over there and all right, we're just gonna go up here and sit. He responded once, so he might just work his way up here. So we're just gonna sit here and listen and wait, see what he does. After I called to that turkey, he answered once, and I never heard him again. It could be that I can't call worth the darn with my mouth, but give me a mouth call. It's music. So anyways, I did add some more stones to this wall. I got a lot more to add. As soon as I get some more, we just pick them up here and there and keep adding it. So right behind the tent, we planted some larch trees, and you can see there's one. There's one. Yeah. So anyways, we planted these larch trees 4 years ago, and specifically right here, because the tent is right here, and we want to have a little privacy here, although it's very private down here. But anyways, to create like a little wind barrier, visual barrier here too. And shoot, they're 15 15 foot tall now, so yep, they're growing pretty good. Not too far away is this red pine that we planted. It seems to be doing pretty good. I got it caged to keep the deer out of it because they'll just nip it off. In this spot right here, which is right below the beehives, which are up the hill about 100 yards. This is where I caught a swarm last year. So we just put a box back there, and if it was good last year, should be good this year. I don't really need to catch any bees, but just in case ours swarm, maybe we'll catch the swarm here. And then I can put those swarmed bees in the horizontal hive. Or maybe if I don't catch a swarm, I'll just split one of my hives. I don't know. I got options. So we're going to let this trail grow into good tall grass. We're going to slide the actual trail a little bit to the south and then just let this all grow up. So we've been clearing this out right in here so we can move our trail a little bit. We'll see how that affects the deer movement. I think the deer will feel better about coming across. The damage from the cold temperatures last weekend is still yet to be seen. But looking at our apple trees, yeah, I think those buds got frozen. They had to have. I don't know. I think it'll be a couple weeks before we really know. They feel a little crispy on the tips. As we're coming back around to the beehives, I can already hear them. They're buzzing by me. They seem to be a little more active right now than they were an hour ago. So years ago, my grandfather had horses and his young kids, and we were probably 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around in there. He kept the horses at our farm, and so in the summer when we weren't at school, we would help him with the horses. And so we always went on horse rides, and one particular ride that we would go on would take us right through a bee yard, and there was maybe 20 hives, 10 on each side of this trail, and we'd ride right through the middle of them. And my grandfather said, "Don't ever swat at the bees, just walk through, you'll be fine." So one day we're going through there, and I don't know if it was him that got stung or his horse that got stung, and he started swatting, and the horse was jumping, and oh, it was a mess. I'll never forget that. We never rode through there again. Yeah, we never took that trail again. Don't swat at the bees, boys. Just don't do it. Until his horse got stung, started bucking, and the bees got upset, and I think it was his horse that got stung. I don't know. It was funny though. So this hillside up behind me is where we did a lot of the clearing, or the opening of pockets for deer. And from this point on, I'll just stay right out of there. It's hard enough to get down here without causing any issues if deer are bedding in there. But the best I can do is just stay out of there. We've done the clearing. We did do some hinge cutting of some of the ash trees that are in there, the smaller ones that are probably going to die anyway, so we hinged cut them. They'll sprout out, and hopefully the deer will be browsing on those. We cut them back. We cut back a lot of the red osier dogwood. That'll sprout again, and they'll be browsing there. We've opened up pockets, but from this point on, we'll stay right out of there. So this is an area that I cleaned out last summer. It's pretty small, but it was just a jungle of poison ivy vines, and there's still lots of them in here. But I mowed it, sprayed it, mowed it again. But one of the things I ran into is wire. These are all old vineyards, and a lot of the old wire that supported the grapevines, they're still in here. And I wrapped up a wad of wire in my mower, and it's still here. I got to get down here sometime and get rid of this, because if I ever mow it again, guess what I'm going to hit? And there's a lot of it. It's probably, it could be a mile of wire right there. I don't know. Oh boy, what a mess. So I think that it's sometimes good just to take a walk and listen to what's around you and kind of get a new perspective. So thanks for coming along. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. See ya.